Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's another planner sticker shop, like how to start it. What am I even calling this series? How to start a planner sticker shop. That's what we're calling it. And today we are talking all about the different platforms you can use to sell your product, right?
Yep, we're going to talk about all 1,000 of them available.
Oh my gosh. Also, you may notice that this guy is here with me again. And that's because some of this stuff I don't really, I've never checked out, but he has. So he was like, I'll talk about that. And I was like, cool, I'll talk about what I know. And together we can bring you guys.
With all powers combined.
We can bring you guys some hopefully helpful information.
We are Planner Planet. Planner Planet. He's a hero.
Okay. All right.
You don't like that, do you?
No, I think it's really funny. I'm going to keep it in the video, but we got to get back to... All right. So first, we're going to talk about Etsy. I feel like that is the one that most people know. That's the one that a lot of people use. And, you know, I feel like if you're thinking about starting one, you're probably looking at Etsy. When you say that's a fair...
I would say that's probably a fair assumption.
So... for Etsy, I actually really love Etsy, but they do have a lot of fees, and that is something that you have to think about when wanting to open a sticker shop. But the nice thing about Etsy is you don't get charged those fees until you actually start listing stuff. So like if you list one item, you're gonna pay 20 cents for that. But like you're not gonna get charged any of their fees until somebody purchases that item or you continue to list more items. So that's something to think about. Like maybe you want to just kind of like dabble with it and you want to put up one thing and see how that does. Then I think Etsy would be a great place for you. But I also think that Etsy, they bring in a lot of traffic. I mean, I know there's some debate about this. Some people, they don't actually bring in a lot of traffic if you look at your stats. But I do think that a lot of people are already on Etsy searching for things. So I think it's a great way to start out.
Yeah, Etsy is a marketplace. And so you get all the pros and cons of it being a marketplace. The pros being there's already people there looking. They trust the name of the marketplace because they know people are selling stuff there and they got protection from Etsy for buyer protection. But, you know, you get the cons of there's a lot of fees because they got to, you know, pay their bills and they don't have ads on the website. So they can't just do ad revenue. So they got to charge fees for listing and sales. And I don't want to say they nickel and dime because it's not quite that bad. I mean, because like they're very clear about what their fees are and you can roughly estimate what your fees are going to be based on how many sales you're going to get and that kind of stuff. But it is a bit of an unknown because like it's going to depend on how much you sell.
So yeah, I did write down in my little notebook all the different things that they charge you for because I wanted you guys to get an idea of like what you're going to be charged for. So and these are new. Like there's a couple things that are new in here that they used to not charge you, but since July of 2018 they started. So they charge a shipping fee, which is kind of annoying because we don't make money off of shipping. So
and that's just a fixed percentage, right?
Yeah, it's just like, and so it's not really like a crazy amount, but it's still kind of annoying because we're not profiting off of that. So it's annoying that there's a fee for that, I guess, but it is what it is. Etsy has to make money too. So you have a shipping fee, a transaction fee, a sale fee, and an auto renew listing fee. So the auto renew listing fee is always 20 cents. The other things kind of depend on how much you sell and like how much the item was listed at and all of that stuff. But pretty much the listing fee is always 20 cents. Then you have your original listing fee, which is, again, always going to be 20 cents. And that is just when you put something new in your shop, you're going to be charged that to list that product. Then there's a couple things that you're not necessarily charged for unless you opt for those things. So like promoted listings, you can do promoted listings and you'll be charged for that. I have not really found them to benefit me that much. So I personally don't use promoted listings, but maybe if you're just starting out and you don't have a following, that might be something to consider. And you can set how much you want to spend per day on that. So
I mean, they're just like any other online ad you purchase. You can set how much you want to pay, how many days you want to pay it over, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. So, but those are some of the fees. And then you have obviously your shipping labels. Even though the customer pays that to you, you then turn around and buy the shipping labels. So it almost looks like a fee. It's not a fee necessarily. It's just
It's just a fee that's been passed to the consumer.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's that. And then there's a new thing that Etsy's doing, and I don't have any experience in this. I didn't opt in for this, but it's called Etsy Plus, and it's $10 a month, and you can like customize your website. And I think when I read on there, you can get like 15 listings. So instead of paying the 20-cent listing fee, your first 15, I think, are free. And then you also get $5 towards promoted listings. So that's a cool option to think about. I don't know that I would say start out with that, because that's something like that's a fee that you're going to have to pay every month, even if you don't sell anything. Whereas like if you just list your item, you're only paying 20 cents. And then if you get orders from that, you have to pay, but you're getting money for your orders, so you're able to cover your costs. So
yeah, if you're going to start with Etsy, your biggest reason is probably because you're not sure if you have a market, if you have customer base. So you probably want to take all that in consideration to try and keep your monthly as low as possible starting out.
Yeah.
Because if you have the customer base or something, you're probably going to want to go for one of the other platforms anyways.
Yeah. So basically, I get this question a lot. Would I prefer Etsy or Shopify? So I personally would go with Shopify. Hands down, I love Shopify. I love my website. But I do think that if you're starting out and you don't have a following, whether on Instagram or YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, wherever, then I think I would recommend sticking with Etsy, because it is going to be a way to get your name out there. Whereas with Shopify, they have monthly payments. So the cheapest one you can do is $29. That's actually what I do. I could afford the next level up, but I just find the basic one did work for me. And so they have a $29 one, a $79 one, and a $299 plan. And there's a lot of things that go into each plan. I won't really go into
the biggest difference is how much of a transaction fee you get charged if they don't pay through Shopify payments.
Well, and like I think with on the more expensive one, if you have like employees that need to log into your websites or whatever,
sure,
like that. But see, I don't have that. So for me, the basic $29 works for me. But the one thing I will say is you have to pay that every month, even if you're not selling stuff. So It's not a good idea if you like haven't sold anything and you don't have the following. I don't know that I would recommend putting in $30 a month, not knowing if you're going to make any money. Obviously, you have to spend money to make money, but that's where I think Etsy is a great place to start off. And then once you've gotten your name out there and more people are ordering from you, then maybe move to Shopify. For me, I didn't move to Shopify until I had had my shop for like 2.5 years, 3 years almost, somewhere around in there.
Yeah, about
like I kind of dabbled with it at 2.5, and then I made the full switch at like 3 years. But I had been in the community for 3 years, and I had made a name for my shop.
Sure.
So,
and that's not to say that you couldn't start on Shopify or somewhere else.
Yeah.
And build out your name. It's just Etsy is set up like a kind of like more of like a community marketplace, so it's a lot easier for people to find you just because they're already there looking for stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas if you do like a Shopify page or one of the other programs we're gonna be talking about, you have to build that out yourself through marketing, through like ads, through reaching out to people on Instagram and Twitter, and so it can be done because people do it every day. It's just it costs a lot more money up front that way.
Yeah.
Whereas Etsy's has a much lower cost of entry.
And the other thing to take into consideration is when you have your own website, if they don't pay through like PayPal, it's a lot harder. Like they're worried about like, if you don't send the product, how am I going to get my money back? Whereas Etsy has the sellers back in that situation. And so it's a lot easier to get your money back through them, I think. Versus like if it's your own website. So I think that's something like I know a lot of people still like to buy from my Etsy shop because they're concerned about paying through a website. So, and plus people just like the convenience of Etsy. So I think, there's still a lot of people buying on Etsy. And so that's why I still have my Etsy open, but I have my prices a little bit more on Etsy just to cover all of those fees, because those are not fees that I have on Shopify. So for Shopify, you have the $29, but you can list as many items as you want, and you're not getting the renew fee, the sale fee, the transaction fee, all that mess. You're getting like the credit card transaction fee, which is like a small little amount, and then you have to pay for shipping labels, but you're not getting like all these other little fees on top of it. So, and plus, and the other thing too is you can customize your Shopify and like your website. You can add apps to it. Like there's rewards points. There's all kinds of like things that you can do with your Shopify that you can't do with Etsy. So that's why like I love my Shopify, because I can do all these cool things with it that I couldn't do with my Etsy.
Yeah, Shopify, I mean, they, as far as like just a strictly e-commerce platform, they are definitely the like number one like e-commerce builder platform. That's not to say that the other ones aren't very popular or the other ones don't, I mean, obviously there's a ton of people on Etsy, but for building your own online store, there's a reason that Shopify is the name that always comes up, because that's what they do. That's all they do, but they do it very well.
Yeah. So, and I'll get more into Etsy versus Shopify because I've had questions specifically for that, but we are going to move into like the other platforms you can use. Obviously, there's like a ton out there, but we just have 5 that we're talking about. So we've talked about Etsy and Shopify. Now we're going to talk about Wix.
So Wix, if you don't know, is probably the newest thing on this list. Well, it is the newest on this list as far as I know. It is a website builder. So it's not directly specified at e-commerce, which all the rest of the ones we're looking at aren't exactly specified for that. But Wix can do it. There's a bunch of different pricing plans for Wix, starting from like $8 a month if you're just going to be blogging, which this doesn't really apply. I think there's like an $18 a month, but you can only sell like 10 different products or something like that.
That I didn't see that whenever I looked. I actually pulled the prices.
Because you went to the e-commerce page,
I went to
right?
the e-commerce.
Yeah, if you go to the personal page, I think there is a price plan in there for selling like a very limited number of items.
Gotcha. So. Well, I went to the e-commerce because that's more what applies to this video.
So once you get into the e-commerce.
So you have a package for $23, for $27, or for $49.
Yeah, so their pricing, obviously, as you can tell, is more attractive than Shopify's. That's just due to the way their platform's set up, the different tools that they offer. I haven't personally used Wix, so I can't say how well the interface is. What I've read is that their page builder is very easy to use. They have tons of templates available that you can start from, and then they have what's called a drag and drop builder, so you can drag stuff around, which is, some people call it like a what you see is what you get, whatever. So it's supposed to be really easy to set up. There is one really, really big caveat with Wix that I think everyone should be very aware of. And hopefully they fix this, because this is a huge deal. So like on Shopify, you have your layout set up in your theme, right?
Uh-huh.
And then like if you wanted to, you could go in and change that theme, and all your content stays there and just changes the theme.
Yeah.
On Wix, once your page goes live, if you want to change your theme, all your content, you have to organize it all again. Like it doesn't
carry over.
It wasn't clear like if it like deleted it all and you had to re-enter it, or if it just put it all into like an offline state and you had to put it online. So I'm not 100% clear on exactly what that means, but that is something you want to consider, because it's pretty unlikely that the first theme you settle on is what you're going to stick with.
Yeah.
As someone who has like 6 or 7 different websites, I change my theme at least once a year probably.
Yeah.
Because you want to tweak something. That doesn't mean I always like completely redo the whole thing. But there's always things that you want to kind of change, your layouts, how stuff appears. And it did sound like on Wix that's not exactly something that they want you doing.
Oh, well, hopefully that...
Otherwise, their pricing, is good.
Yeah, their pricing, it looks...
They have, I can't remember the exact number. Something like millions of users using Wix every day to build web pages. Not all of them e-commerce.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely an option. It's just... they're not a dedicated e-commerce, so like they don't have all they have like stuff you can add to it, but it's not like on Shopify where it's all dedicated to e-commerce.
Yeah.
Now, if you're trying to build something where you want to like maybe have like a blog and stuff also with your store, maybe Wix is a better option than Shopify. But if your main goal is e-commerce, I would say probably still go with Shopify over Wix.
Well, and Shopify does have an option to blog.
Sure.
So
their blogging is, more limited than the other options, other than Etsy, who just doesn't have that option, I guess.
Yeah.
So Shopify does have a blog option. It's just, it's not as fully featured as the other options because it's an e-commerce platform, whereas the other ones are more of a content option that's kind of been morphed into an e-commerce.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of what we have to say about Wix. Obviously, we've never used it, so I can't like go into full detail. But I would still say Etsy starting out, and then once you have that following, then if you wanted to move to Wix, that might be a better option. But I don't think paying $23 a month, not knowing if you're ever gonna if you're gonna sell something and having to really work hard to get your name out there, I don't know that I would go with that just straight off the bat,
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would go with Etsy. If you want to have a different platform other than Etsy, we'll get to what I think would be an option then instead of going straight to Shopify. But
yeah,
I wouldn't go with Wix even after you were established, though. Honestly, as an e-commerce platform, it's not your best option in my opinion.
But again, those are our opinions, and you should always do your own research.
I've never used Wix, so maybe you know someone who has that you can actually talk to about it. I just, based off of what I've read and the research I've done on Wix, it has a lot of pros for building websites and looking awesome, but it has enough cons that I don't think it's the best option.
Yeah. All right, so next we're going to move into Squarespace.
Squarespace. Everyone knows Squarespace because they have ads all over the place. When they launched, they were very aggressive on making sure everyone knew about Squarespace. They were advertising on podcasts, on YouTube. They were just everywhere. And Squarespace is a beautiful website. It's really nice. It's really clean. They don't have as many templates as Wix, but the templates they do have are they're beautiful. They're laid out real nice. Their pricing is okay.
Yeah, their pricing. So what I pulled from my research was they had a plan for $26 and a plan for $40. And I don't know all the differences between the two because there were, different things for different websites, but I was just pulling the actual prices. But you can obviously look that up and see, what you get with each plan and which one would work best for you if you decide to go with Squarespace.
Yeah, or so any of these. If I remember correctly, Squarespace actually started as kind of an e-commerce platform. And then they kind of evolved into just kind of a more general website platform. So, they have like an e-commerce backbone. Like they definitely have the options available. In comparison to Shopify and most of the reviews and comparisons I've done and read, Shopify does tend to edge out Squarespace as far as just like I said, again, strictly an e-commerce platform. It's when you start looking into other things you'd want to do with your website. If you're like a photographer and want to show off your pictures, if you plan on writing a lot, doing a lot of reviews, a lot of blogging, a lot of news article type stuff, that's where something like Squarespace I feel like comes into play. The price is very competitive with Shopify, especially the $40 plan, depending on what that offers exactly.
Yeah.
But like I said, if you're strictly looking at just an e-commerce platform, Shopify, the options it has, it offers a lot more payment options for your customers that you can turn on. It has a lot more features for you as a shop owner that it does still edge out Squarespace. And now, I've never used Squarespace, but I have recommended Squarespace to people starting websites. But like I said, those were people doing photography and trying to do writing and that kind of stuff. As an e-commerce platform, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not the best, but it's good. It's solid. You can survive on it and thrive on it.
Yeah. All right.
And like I said, the websites it had, the templates it has are gorgeous. So they got some good designers. They did. It's true.
And it's just so funny to hear it's just gorgeous.
They are.
All right. So the last platform that we're going to talk about is WordPress.
Sure. WordPress, if you don't know, WordPress powers 25% of the internet, roughly. That's a pretty big,
all right.
That's something they got going for them. That's a big deal. They are a content management system, which means that they kind of just provide you a platform to put your content on, and then it's up to you how you lay it out, what you do with it. So there's two flavors of WordPress. There's WordPress.com, which has a free option, and then there's some paid options. And then there's a self-hosted WordPress site, which you have to like get your own hosting platform, install WordPress onto it. But then you have a lot more options. That is basically you're running your own website. Like you are running it at that point.
Gotcha.
WordPress.com is a lot easier to set up because it's kind of more like a Shopify Squarespace situation. I don't know much about WordPress.com as far as an e-commerce platform, honestly. All the research I've done into WordPress is as a WordPress self-hosted website.
Gotcha.
Which means you buy your own server space and you pay for server space yearly. I pay $40. No, maybe I'm paying $80 a year right now for all my server space I have. And then your domain's like $10 a year, but that's pretty normal across any platform.
Yeah.
And then you can install WordPress and the 50,000 something plugins that are available, plus the thousands and hundreds of thousands of templates that people have made. WordPress is a beast, and it takes some time to get into and figure out. But if you're very technical minded or just really want to own your website, WordPress, a self-hosted WordPress is the way to go.
Well, so when I did my research, I didn't know there were two separate ones.
It's not super clear if you just type in WordPress.
So I was just trying to find like numbers for you guys, like, prices and whatever. So I pulled the prices from WordPress.com and not the self-hosted
WordPress.com.
whatever. So the numbers I have here are not for what he was talking about, but we have $8 a month and $25 a month. And obviously I don't know a whole lot about
Did the $25 a month say like what kind of e-commerce options it has? And
I think it did. I was just pulling numbers because I was like, here's the different plans. And like I said, always do your own research. So I figured you guys could go and like pull the prices.
You can go and pull the pricing up. I mean,
you see they had the $8 premium, but then the $25 was like best for small business.
That's a good plan. I mean,
so
Google Analytics, storage, remove WordPress.com branding, all important stuff, monetize. It's not super clear about e-commerce though on a WordPress.com page. Yeah. So that's something you'd want to look into.
So those are the different options that you have when you're selling your products. Obviously, the last three that we talked about are not like super focused on that. It sounds more like just building websites.
They are all just like website builders, and then you do whatever you want with it. They have e-commerce options. They all are used for e-commerce. I mean, people use them to sell stuff all the time. But they definitely are going to be a lot more hands-on, involved in getting your website where you want it, how you want it.
If you if you don't know anything about building a website, probably not the right thing for you to
probably
start
not
out
the direction you want to go.
And I would say that about Shopify also, because Shopify, well, it's not maybe as...
No, Shopify is a lot easier of a templates to work with, but you still got to do stuff.
You still, it took me a while to figure it out. I still had to do all of my research and figuring out how to build my website, and it's a lot easier on that than the
It's going to take you a few days on Shopify to get it where you want. And then for the other ones, it's going to be... I will say I think it was on Wix is what I was doing. Once you figure out the tools, you can make websites really fast. But you guys spend the time up front to learn. And the same thing with WordPress and Squarespace, I imagine, is I can build a new WordPress website, I mean, in a few minutes. But I've done it, a couple dozen times. I mean,
I mean, if you're not super, if you don't know anything about building a website, Etsy's the way to go. Etsy does everything for you. So even though they have a lot of fees, they also do a lot of things for you. That's why they have a lot of fees, though.
So they manage your layout for you. They manage product being in front of people for you. The way the product's presented. I mean, you just type in what you want it to say. It's there. The search is all organized. I mean, they do everything.
Yeah. So it's really, really nice. So even though they do have a lot of fees, it is a really, really nice way to start this out. Because I imagine if you're wanting to start a planner sticker shop, you probably...
Even if you're technical minded, it's probably not what you want to spend your time doing.
Well, but I shouldn't even say that you've never had an online shop before. But if you haven't, I definitely think Etsy is going to help you navigate all that. And then once you have a better idea of how all of that works, then you can move to Shopify. And it's you know what you're doing. Like if I had started on Shopify, I would have had no idea, probably would not have sold a single product, to be honest, because I would have been so confused and lost. But because I had Etsy and I had figured out how they were doing things, then moving to Shopify, it was a little bit easier versus just starting with Shopify straight up without, and that if you have knowledge of how to build websites, then that doesn't apply to you. But like I had no idea. So I was like,
if you have knowledge of building websites or something you're just super interested in and you want that to be part of your business experience, then like definitely don't start with Etsy. Just go to one of the other platforms that you're drawn to, based on what you want to do.
Okay, so now to the next part of our video. And that is answering questions that you guys have sent.
Q&A time.
First question, which do you prefer, Etsy or Shopify, and why?
Okay, you answer first.
So I prefer Shopify because you can do a lot more with it. I can offer lower prices because I don't get charged all of those fees. I can have rewards points and give back to my customers, which is just like my favorite thing. Like I love that I can offer rewards points. Whereas with Etsy, I can't. I mean, I can if I buy those little reward cards and have you guys collect stickers or whatever. But I was finding that I would send a reward card with every order. So it was almost like I should have been like, show me a picture of your 10 business cards versus here's 10 business cards, but only fill up one with stickers. So I found that I was like wasting money doing that, like because I was sending out business cards with every
and they
order.
had all these business cards I had to keep track of.
Yeah, so I didn't like that, and that's really the only way you can do that with Etsy, because Etsy doesn't have a plugin where you can do that, where Shopify does. It keeps track of all your rewards points for me, so it's great because you guys kind of handle all that. You can like go in and say, I want to redeem this, and like I don't have to worry about setting up a code or doing anything like that. It's really, really great. So I definitely prefer Shopify over Etsy, but I do, as I've said in this video, I do really think that Etsy is the way to go when you're starting out and you don't have that following. I would not be on Shopify if I didn't have amazing customers who were willing to follow me over to Shopify. So for me, Etsy is the way to go when you're starting out. But if you're asking me which one I prefer to sell on, Shopify all the way. And honestly, like I would get rid of my Etsy, except for I know that it does expose me to people who wouldn't find me otherwise. Like they're probably not Googling Sticky Situations Co. and finding my website. So
they're probably not even Googling planner stickers. They're probably going to Etsy and then doing an Etsy search for.
So that's why I keep my Etsy open. I do think Etsy's great. Like obviously it's where I started and I've been on there for almost 4 years now. So Etsy does have a special place in my heart, but I definitely prefer Shopify over that. Next question, breakdown of fees for different platforms. So I kind of already did that throughout this video. I broke down like all the different charges and the fees and stuff from definitely from Etsy and Shopify. And then the other ones, that's just what I pulled from their websites. So
yeah, Wix and Squarespace have varying credit card transaction fees. Yeah. Where Shopify only charges you that fee if they don't pay through the Shopify Pay tool, which I don't really even know what that means, because I was looking through your orders for the last year since we were doing our taxes. It didn't look like you had any of those credit card fees. Because actually,
most people opt with PayPal.
Sure.
So I don't get charged
that. But even like the money that's getting deposited directly in, apparently like they're paying through like whatever Shopify's payment portal is.
Oh yeah.
And so like those fees just they're not there.
Which one do you find brings more sales? So this question is really exciting to me because obviously when I was on Etsy full time, like that was my only place, I would have said Etsy. But since I've moved to Shopify, I actually make more on Shopify than I do on Etsy. And so for me, Shopify is bringing in most of the money. And when we just did taxes for last year and most of my money came from Shopify, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it was probably twice as much, at least, I would say.
Yeah. And last month, I think I made a lot more on Shopify versus what I made on Etsy. So it's definitely, but that's because I have that customer base and those loyal customers who have followed me there.
And like from their point of view, they don't see that like it's a Shopify page. They just see that it's your website.
Yeah,
like,
it's
there's
like
no
my
Shopify branding on it.
It's if you scroll to the very bottom, it'll say like powered by Shopify or something.
Okay.
But like
when you're on Etsy, it says Etsy.com and it says Etsy everywhere.
And you type in Etsy.com and then you put like the shop's name or whatever. Whereas like with my website, you type in stickysituationsco.com and there you go. You don't have to type in Shopify.com.
I think people like to know that they're supporting, you directly instead of this other platform.
Yeah.
And I would say that's a huge benefit of having your own website is that the people who do want to buy from you are going to be more inclined to because they feel like they're supporting you directly.
Yeah.
And they are. It's true.
So yes, for me, Shopify is definitely the winner when it comes to, I get the most sales over there.
Your Shopify fees were, significantly lower than your Etsy fees.
Yeah. And I was making more money over there. So, so for me, Shopify wins out right now. Anyway. But we're done with this video. We're wrapping it up. Next week's video is just going to be me, I think. I think I'm going to kick you out. But I'm going to be talking about the different ways to promote your product and get your name out there, such as like the different social media platforms I like to use. And
like MySpace, Zanga.
Other trips and ticks. Wow. Whoa. I'm so confused. You got me all like screwed up right now. All the different tips and tricks, not ticks, we don't want ticks, tips and tricks on how I get my product out there and promote it. And so if you have any questions about that or there's something specific you want to know, leave it in the comments down below so I can answer it next week. But thank you guys so much for checking out this video and for subscribing, clicking the thumbs up button, because I know you guys are going to do that, right? Because thumbs up is cool. That's what James said last week. Thumbs up
are cool.
So thumbs this video up. And don't forget to hit the bell notification so that way you're notified like the minute that I upload, because I know
that's important.
Because I know whenever I like love a YouTuber and they like I get that notification, I'm like, drop everything, like gotta go do this. Like sorry mom, I gotta call you back. That's how I am about it. So I don't know. Maybe you don't like my videos that much, but definitely click the bell notification if you guys want to know the minute that I upload. All right, so we're peacing out right now because this video is so long. All right, thanks for watching. Bye, guys.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I've been feeling so small. Watch the clock ticking off the wall.